Welcome back to the Bowls New Zealand coverage of the 2024 Auckland Champion of Champions Singles. We are live from the Remuera Bowling Club and we join you with the men's final between Mike Galloway from Royal Oak Bowling Club and Sean Hurd from Pringle Park Bowling Club. My name is Terry Blackburn. I am joined in commentary today by Brendan Walton. How do you think this final will play out?
Yeah, well, this is going to be a really interesting final. Quite a contrast, I think, to what we saw in the women's final. Again, both of these players are probably more characterised towards their draw game, but equally they'll have those little pokey, aggressive sort of shots at the head. Particularly when we have tight heads, they'll look to turn bowls over and convert. On paper, you'd probably say that Mike Galloway has the experience and the what's the word I'm looking for? You know, the track record to win this event. But certainly Sean is not one to count out. Very credible bowler in his own right. Plays a lot with Adam Wisnowski out of the Newland Bowling Club. And Billy Fulton, those kind of guys out of Henderson. So always plays in good teams, has a pretty good track record, and certainly one to watch.
Both players have been sitting out for quite some time now. They each had an early finish in their semi-final.
Yeah, both had pretty good wins in their semi-final. And obviously due to us broadcasting, it's made them sit around. So they'll certainly be dusting off those cobwebs the first few ends as they get back into their rhythm.
Mike Galloway, of course, defeated young 15-year-old Liam Hill from Auckland Bowling Club.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up the scores, actually. You beat me to it.
Well, you can fill them in on Sean Hurd's game then. Leave that one for you.
Where are we? Semi-finals. Yeah, so Sean Hurd played Lonnie Paloma from Carlton Cornwall Bowling Club. And yeah, pretty convincing win there, 21-10. And funnily enough, it was 21-10 in Mike and Liam's game as well. Liam sort of suggested he just didn't really find the rink, and Mike is the kind of player that would just punish him for that.
Yeah, he's pretty classy, all right. And of course, we saw a lot of that at the National Fours down in New Plymouth in February.
Yes, winning his, first Fours title, but his seventh national title.
He adds to the national singles from 2021 and the pairs from 2001, and of course he's got national champ of champ triples.
That's a great little bowl there, just gets the wick, takes the toucher through.
It's great to see the exchanging of shots so early on in the game.
And 18 centre titles for Mike Galloway. Of course, he along with Lisa Prideaux won the mixed pairs a bit earlier on in the year, but as a composite team were ineligible to earn their gold star point, so Mike is still looking for that final title, for, chasing towards his 20th title.
From what I can see, the the Auckland Champion of Champions Singles is not one that he's got in his collection. He does have a wealth of Champion of Champion titles across the pairs, triples and fours.
Yeah, probably more so, would be more familiar to most viewers in the triples and fours, with the likes of, Gavin Brown and Martin Dixon and more recently Steve Fisher as in that skip role. Yeah, definitely a very strong singles player in his own right as well. Sounded like 2 there was the call. Looks like Sean Hurd's got off to a 10-point head start on the scoreboard. Always helpful. We'll see how long it takes our tournament convener Les to notice that the scoreboard's wrong.
Those of you who would have tuned in earlier would have seen Lisa Prideaux from the Auckland Bowling Club take out the women's singles final. against Linda Fenton from Howick Bowling Club. It was a really good game, but Lisa did have the upper hand throughout.
Yeah, it was a great game. Lisa really showed her experience there, and it was a great effort from Linda. She certainly was the underdog going into the final. She had taken out a couple of good matches along the way, but unfortunately just coming up short on this occasion. But she'll have plenty of time in her career to achieve that kind of success, and no doubt we'll see her again in the future. She's certainly coming into her game now. And a bit of a rough start from Mike, throwing his first one into the ditch.
Interestingly, Lisa Prideaux had also won the Champion of Champion pairs, triples and fours, but not the singles until today. So she now has the full set, and of course Mike Galloway will be chasing that himself today.
Yeah, it's interesting we don't have like a Grand Slam award in bowls. I think it's something we should probably recognise more often, is when you've won all four. I know a few years back I got 3 out of 4 club titles and I was gutted, and then the next year I got the one I missed. So I felt like it was while it was the only title I got that year, it was still a minor victory because I completed the set.
Yeah, would be a good feeling.
And I'm also the only person in Paratutu history to have their name on the board 5 times in 1 year, because I was treasurer and secretary also.
It's one way to get your name on the board. I'll keep that in mind.
It's a good way to get your name up there if you're ever struggling.
Sean Hurd, no stranger to a Champion of Champion title. He's won 2 triples events, one in 2013 and one in 2019. Handy bowl from Mike there. Sean now changing hands. Looking interested. We did see in the women's final on this side of the rink that if you're on the outside of those white lines, it's unlikely to come back.
Yeah, it just hangs out there a little bit, and we saw that with Sean's bowls. I'm not actually sure what Sean plays with. I think they're like an older Taylor model, I want to say like a blue line maybe. I know Mike Galloway definitely plays with the blue lines. Quite a narrow drawing bowl for a Taylor set.
This is on a better track. Speed doesn't look too bad either. May need to rest that bolt. And he has. Good last bolt. Mike getting a good bird's eye view there.
Pull the measure out.
I think Mike was willing to concede that one anyway, but the measure makes sure of it. Sign of a good sport anyway.
I think we'll be more likely to see a bit more movement and length in this game too. Both of these players will look to use the mat to their advantage at different times in the game, just to change the length up, try and create momentum in different opportunities. I think as both players are still settling in, as you mentioned, having quite a long break between games, they'll just play those longer ends to find their rhythm. From what I understand, there's some football banter going on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's showing up in I think a Leicester City shirt. And I don't know who Sean supports, but I'm guessing it's not them.
Gets down nice and low in his stance.
Yeah, again, very, very good deliveries. And I think, particularly at this point, you see, you wouldn't really see a bad delivery when you get to this kind of point of the competition. It's really good to see throughout this event a lot of new faces in the Chamber Champ scene, and particularly some of the smaller clubs in Auckland being represented. That's not a word, represented. And it's good because we have a bit of a resurgence going on at the moment. We have clubs, like Mount Wellington and, like Point Chev a little bit are starting to go through a bit of a resurgence as well. And Henderson, for example, Central kind of are trying their best to get members involved in centre events. Otahuhu Railway have had massive improvements over the last 12 months, and it's great to see those sort of smaller clubs actively participating in centre events. I guess it's not really fair to call Point Chev a small club, but certainly over the last 12 months they've had some changes, and now they're back sort of competing at that top level again. And then, of course, Royal Oak have always been sort of a bit of a powerhouse in the Auckland region.
3 good bowls from Galloway there. Building up a nice head. Sean with 1 bowl to play now. Down to the speed.
He's not too far away here.
Needs to finish. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he's
an
played that
excellent
well.
last bowl.
One down, obviously, Kevin.
Be interesting to see what Mike plays here. I think he's only got second shot though, doesn't he?
Yeah, see here, he's just asked the question. Yeah, just the 1 second. Yeah, so staying on the forehand. Oh, he's winding up. He's going to have a go.
Yeah, I mean, any jack movement's fine. And if he does chip it out clean with no movement, well, he knows he's got second shot. Pretty accurate on these shots. Not to be this time though.
Yeah, I just wondered playing that shot, if you get the outside edge, you risk of
Risky.
taking your own off as well. I sort of thought maybe the same, that weighted intent, but with sort of 2 or 3 yards of weight to push the ball through would have perhaps been a safer option.
Yeah, even the inside edge of that bowl could have been a bit dangerous, chipping himself out. But
Well, I mean, risk and reward definitely with those types of shots. 2-all.
yeah, and what a last bowl from Sean Hurd as well. It's all it takes sometimes.
Didn't seem to like that one. Can't quite see it on screen, but he pushed it out wide again. So he's been caught out of the bounds, out of the boundaries of the rink.
Yeah, I think no matter what bowl you're playing with here, a lot of them would need to be on the inside of that boundary line. Of course, Galloway's seem to be quite tight, don't they?
Yeah, his particular set don't seem to turn a lot, even at the best of times. Like they're just agreeing that Sean's bowl was on the line. again, he looks to just be pushing out wide and hanging.
Yeah, he did adjust the line and it has come back to a handy enough spot, but certainly doesn't have a nice arc on that side of the rink. Handy again.
Yeah, well played from Mike. That's what we expect to see.
Yeah, he's certainly finding his rhythm early. Not too far away from Sean Hurd. Slightly tight, but I wouldn't have expected he'd go wide again. And his speed was pretty good too. Mike didn't look overly happy with that release. It's just the weight.
Yeah, just going to pull up a little bit short.
Yeah.
It's not all bad though.
Sean's last bowl. Can he do it again?
Last couple have been in the area. He's just needed to improve his line, which it looks like he's done.
Ooh, saving the best for last. Not quite this time. May force Galloway to change hands. There is a path still past there.
No, I think we'll see
Comes
Galloway.
with a bit of risk.
I think we'll see Galloway change. He's
Yeah.
again those sort of narrower drawing bowls. It's more often safer to change than risk turning into them,
Yeah, absolutely.
especially on the carpet surface that doesn't really promote that big finish that you see on a quick grass green.
He looks interested.
He's played this pretty well. He can use that
Little
bowl.
touch.
Yeah, that's a great shot.
Yeah, really nicely weighted.
Sounded like they only said two.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was 2 or 3. We've opted for 2 on our scoreboard.
Yeah. Quite funny how we're talking in the women's final about how Lisa's so deliberate with the mat, putting it down. We just watched Galloway just toss it on the ground.
Yeah, I had those same thoughts exactly. But if you've watched Aaron Wilson from Australia,
Oh, he doesn't concentrate at all. He just picks up his bowl and throws it.
sometimes the mat's just about sideways and he's stepping off it, but the bowls are always going where they need to go. I think sometimes he's let his bowl go before the jack's been straightened and he'll still find a toucher. Very speedy, but very classy.
And it's interesting because Mike is a very deliberate player.
Just less so with the mat.
Just less so with the mat.
Oh, he didn't like that one. Very expressive as well. When you know though, right?
Oh yeah, especially when you play a narrow one's got a narrow bowl like that.
Yeah. Opportunity for Sean here. Not too far away. It looks on a tight line as well, even for Galloway's bowls. Well weighted, of course.
Well, as we know, this side of the rink does tend to turn a little bit more, so I just wonder if he's just not quite giving his bowl enough confidence to really throw it out there. Expect to see this one from Sean come around nicely.
Yeah, you're right. This side did look to have a little bit more finish. Sure, Mike will learn to trust it. After those first two, he won't take too long to adapt.
Well, he's certainly made an improvement.
Yep, third time's a charm. I feel like Sean liked that one. Oh, just under.
Just going to run through.
Yeah, definitely gets a little bit more turn at the end of his path. Oh, he wouldn't want to promote Sean's bowl, but he has.
He has. Yeah, rub the salt in the wound. Again, that psychology comes into singles. Sometimes you know you're holding the shot, but you just like to ask the marker to rub it in a little bit.
I think he was genuinely asking there, but if he manages to draw a second one here, that would
the weight that he's
really...
on, he can sit that out for 3.
Oh, 3 or 4 maybe.
That's a great bowl from Sean Hurd. That's great head awareness.
Now that's definitely rubbing salt into the wound. Well played by Sean Hurd. And against someone like Mike Galloway, if the opportunity presents itself, you do need to be grabbing it with both hands.
Yes, definitely.
And he has too.
And he's going to the furthest away one, so this is looking like a 4. Yeah, Mike's doing a damage control measure.
Going around the world.
It's a 4.
Looks like the maximum. What a shot from Sean Hurd. Jumps in front to a 6-4 lead in their race to 21 shots. Taking a little breath there. That would get your adrenaline going. I'm not surprised that he's starting off on the backhand this time around. He hasn't quite found the line on the rink side.
No, no.
Just getting caught out wide.
Yeah, certainly on a better line. He's not going to come all the way back to the centre, but he's pretty good effort.
Mike, of course, goes nowhere near the boundary line with his bowls. So he doesn't have that same worry. Pretty good to there. On a good path again from Sean Hurd, scooping onto the jack.
Yeah, great correction.
Excellent.
Already we see, looking like it's going to be quite a compact head.
He's close here. One roll. Oh, didn't quite get it square enough, but certainly setting himself up nicely. No need for Sean to change, I think.
No, you're holding the stop. That's all.
Draw another one. I first watched Mike Galloway play at the very start of the Bowls 3-5 on TV.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Playing for the Royal
Royal
Oak
Oak
Rockets, of
Rockets.
course, and he was just absolutely amazing to watch. I don't even think I realised he was playing at that sort of New Zealand level, or certainly about to be.
Yeah, it's interesting with Mike. He obviously played the Commonwealth Games in, was it Birmingham or
He's close.
Glasgow?
He's got it.
Close. Yeah, great
Shots.
shot. It was the Birmingham Games, I think.
Yep.
Played in the triples and the fours. And sort of since coming back, he's sort of, I don't know, he just hasn't really committed to making himself available for New Zealand. He's a greenkeeper and looks after half a dozen greens, if not more.
I didn't
so
know
he's
that.
he's quite tied up
Wow.
with a great shot
Sean
from Sean.
Hurd, he's absolutely been saving the best for last. Not to say he hasn't been playing some other effective bowls,
No, he's played very well this end.
but his last bowl effectiveness has been absolutely fantastic. Certainly making Galloway work for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so as I say, Mike looks after half a dozen greens around Auckland, so he's pretty tied up during the week with looking after that, and then obviously playing in the weekends. So I guess it's just trying to find that time to practice to that national level, as I suppose you'd be well aware. I'll take that cheeky grin to mean that you practice on a daily basis.
No, but I think what's important to note is, everybody's training plans look very different, and it really is just.
Oh, that's a great result too from
shot.
Mike. That could be a
Is he-
return serve here.
Yeah, I think he's got his fallback. What a great display of bowls we're seeing already in this men's final of the Auckland Champion of Champions singles.
The smile on Mike's face sort of suggests it's a 4. What a shot. Well, it's a quick broadcast when they're scoring like this. Have I mathed wrong?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I've missed an end somewhere. No, I don't think I have.
well, the official scoreboard says 8-6, and so does the TV. So somewhere along the line, I think you've missed a 2 somewhere.
Yeah, you'd think, as a commentator, you'd be paying attention to the game.
Oh, this is brilliant from Mike Galloway.
Great start.
It's a great way to start and end after picking up a 4.
Right, so I think it looks like this.
Looks to be a tight line for Sean Hurd.
Interesting, he's changed his hand there. I'd have thought he'd just draw under that. Wouldn't have really been in his way.
Oh, I think he'll be all right with a hand change. He played down this way.
Yeah, but he's struggled this way. You see, he's not
Yeah.
nailing that line.
Not trusting it quite the same.
He's come up all right, though, to be fair.
Yeah, his third bowl to Wensgo in this direction was a goodie on that hand. Sean Hurd perhaps just not missing in the right areas at this moment in time. That's always something I'm not necessarily good at executing, but the idea is always there.
Yeah, and I guess it's trying to find that fine line. You could say there's a bit of a fine line on this hand coming away from the clubhouse, where if you get too wide, it does sort of tend to hang, but then you play narrow and it punishes you. This is sort of a pretty good line here from Mike. He's just a little bit heavy, I think. come to a good spot though.
Yeah, but again, I think it's just that difference of if you're going to miss in the right areas. And in Mike's case, he's found himself a good position bowl, whereas Sean's probably limiting his options as the end progresses.
So you'd say this is probably just a touch too wide. But he's coming around nicely.
Yep, and that's on the head, and that's something that he can utilise later, depending on what Mike does, of course.
Well, more importantly, it's second shot too.
Yep. Might be looking to sneak under that bowl, play on that tighter line. Just sit his own bowl, potentially. Pulling the jack back through is a good option.
He's not far away.
Yeah, he's played that really well. Nice speed.
I think you just got to draw this unless you go full speed and look for the kill.
You know, he'll be looking to draw. Maybe even just overdraw it. There's a little bit he can work with there. Don't think he's too far away. And as we know, Sean Hurd's fourth bowl might cut it down. Oh, a great
On the
effort.
wrong side of it.
A little bit more deliberate there in his mat placement. Moving it back a couple of inches. Of course, the score is now 10-6. We've already hit the double digits.
Yeah, much quicker in contrast than the women's final we saw just before. And another jack finds its way into the ditch.
Yeah, there were 3 threes in the women's singles final. But other than that, it was all 1s and 2s, wasn't it?
Yeah, and probably more so 1s than 2s.
That's it.
Certainly when you look at Linda's scoring, it tended to be in singles.
He's certainly liking this side of the green, coming in this direction. Handy bowl to start.
Yeah, well, it seems as though the players have found themselves on opposite sides of the rink. Mike seems to be playing that inside rink hand a lot more.
Yeah.
And Sean seems to be favouring this outside ditch hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Needs to sit the bowl. Yep, got away with that one. What do you typically favour, Brendan? A narrower side or a wider side?
Oh, it honestly depends on whatever mood I'm in that day. Some days I can work the narrow hand. Other days I'll play the wide side. But I'm also the kind of player that changes my bowls depending on the temperature and the sun and the clouds and everything else. So yeah, it really just depends on how I'm feeling that day. Some days I go out there and just want to play the widest hand possible all the time, and some days it's narrow up the middle. I guess on a carpet green, though, I tend to find myself playing the more drawing hand just because it gives you a bit more forgiveness.
Yeah.
Not so much on this carpet, but certainly some of the older carpets and astro grasses that tend to have a lot of straighteners in them and whatnot. You want to try and avoid them, so you play the wider hand.
Not far away here from Mike Galloway. Just the speed. The track was really good. Yeah, it's worth Sean Hurd changing hands now. He's got the option to promote his own, and if he's just passed, he can rest the shot bowl. Looks as though he was drawing, which is a fair call. Speed was good for the draw. Just doesn't have that same finish like we've been talking about. Galloway on the backhand again. He's adjusted his weight, but I don't think he's got the line. He'll be happy that he didn't edge in Sean's bowl. He's done that once already, and that cost him a 4 in the end. Wonder if there's another opportunity here, Brendan, for Sean to come down on the forehand maybe and look for that shot bowl.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe. You can,
and there's options too. If he's on the narrower line, he's bringing his own bowl forward onto the jack, and if he's on the wider line, he's using the inside edge of his own bowl to come into the head.
Yeah, I guess in an ideal situation, you're looking for the inside edge of Mike's bowl, get a couple of rolls out of it, you hold 2 or 3.
Yep.
Otherwise, you commit to big weight and have a bit of a clear out. Looks as though he's playing that running weight and seems to be a bit high, but he can work off his outside bowl.
The outside edge even.
Well, he's going to get one.
I must admit, I was looking at that head thinking, there's just options galore, and when you look at it like that, you think, I don't think you can miss.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's good use of percentage play, that.
It was probably plan F, but
It was pretty far down the list, but
we'll
as you say, options galore.
Yeah, and good speed, you know. He was on the right side of the rink, and that counts for something. He knows that there was an element of good fortune there, but still got to play them. Score, of course, 10-7 to Mike Galloway over Sean Hurd. We have Sean Hurd from the Pringle Park Bowling Club leading off. Galloway has been favouring this side of the rink, but coming back this way hasn't been afforded the opportunity to play it too often.
No, he's been pushed onto the forehand side more often than not, and he's just going to sneak in front there. Probably force Sean to change hands now.
Which is probably a good thing, because I think Sean has been playing this side pretty well.
Yeah, he certainly has the better draw line on this side. And he's played this bowl really well.
Yep, lovely.
Yeah, Mike's going to change over to the forehand as well now. I was wondering, it's looking like it's pretty narrow space to draw around those two bowls now.
That's it. If he were to stay on the backhand, I think he'd be more chance of finishing past the jack. Just the way that his bowls play and the way that hand plays. Good home.
Yeah, fair effort.
I like that speed that he had. Just over the draw. It's probably what he needed, given the position of Sean's bowl.
Jacket goes back on. Goodness.
Yeah, another handy bowl from Sean. Should be 2 shots. It is a beautiful day here at Remuera.
Yeah, it just does, because with the Remuera sort of cover facility kind of sits down in the dip. The road, as we see it from the other camera angle, kind of sits level with the top of the top of the wall, so it does sit down a bit, and as the sun disappears behind the cloud and the whatever mountain that is up on the hill on the other side of the road, it does get quite cold in here when the sun peaks behind the clouds, so you'll see the players quite often jackets on, jackets off.
Admittedly, I did pack a thick pair of socks with me, and they are now on my feet.
Yeah, well, I've noticed the heat has found its way on. And
Oh, great bowls from Sean Hurd. Mike Galloway having to make the adjustment now that he's got his jacket on. Might look for a bit of a trail.
yeah, it certainly looks as though he's trying to play underneath that bowl of Sean Hurd's.
I think it was wide for that speed. Could
Another
be a 3. High scoring game.
Well, to bring it all square again.
Little shake of the head from Galloway in the background. And again. I'm superstitious enough that I'd be considering taking my jacket off.
See, I don't play in a jacket very often because I'm not the skinniest unit on the bowling green. I find them quite constricting.
I think jackets are just constricting for anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm usually on the cold side, so
Well,
I do favour sleeves.
it's certainly got to be really cold and raining for me to be wearing a jacket when I play.
I often find, you know, the spalms that people quite often play in for
Yes.
sun protection.
Again, I think I'm too big of a unit for them as well.
Well, I love them.
They're a great idea. I see a lot of the blackjacks wearing them, and I know Mike's got a set on as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't speak highly enough of them,
Yeah.
but certainly for the sun protection, but also I feel it doubles as, you know, taking the chill off.
yeah.
Got a couple of sets in my wardrobe.
No, I did recall looking. They did come in on paper a large enough size, but you can't always trust the measurements. I'd have to give them a go one day. But certainly something that I'd need because I'm useless when it comes to putting sunscreen on.
Same.
I quite often find myself getting off the green at the end of the day bright red.
I usually find now that the backs of my hands will be red, but not the rest of my
Right,
arms, of
yeah,
course. So I should learn to sunscreen the back of my hands, but at least my entire arm is not like that. Might force a change of hand from Sean.
Get out of the way.
Not a bad track for him.
He's coming down very well.
I don't think it'll finish all the way. Oh no. Just about.
Yeah, enough for 2.
Certainly drawing really consistently these last few ends.
It's good from Sean. He's keeping that pressure on Mike. He's staying with him, not giving him any opportunities to run away with it. And now it's really making Mike think about his shot play. Whether he draws this, looks to play the little trail. He's certainly reaching the head this time.
Yeah, he got that little hold though. So he's still a couple down.
Really good opportunity now for Sean just to get a little piece of that jack and make 4 again.
Yep.
I think equally there's probably an argument to be said you change your hand and just sort of look to cover a baby, but
Either that or just go right round the back.
yeah, I was just about to say the other option is right around the back.
Knowing that Galloway would just fly at it and saying that, yeah, I'd be open to that. Right around the back.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't put it past Mike just to run the kitty in the ditch.
But if he wants to add another one onto the head, that's fair enough too. That makes all the sense in the world.
If he breaks down,
Yeah,
he's
he
coming
will.
well.
Finish a little more.
Ooh.
Probably, well, that almost probably encourages Mike to
Well,
go
it probably forces him onto the backhand at the very least. Because if you're playing forehand now, as you say, it is a weighted shot underneath the 3 green balls.
Yeah, you'd probably want full speed if you're on the forehand, but like you say, might just switch. Be interesting to see what he plays here.
He's lining up on the backhand.
Yeah, but not winding up though, is he? Which is fair. I think if you're playing on the backhand, just a few yards over is probably all you need.
Well, he is having a bit of a look. Even if he just works off one of Sean's bowls.
Yep, and that's what he'll be after.
Oh.
The slice of hell.
Well, he's probably got that 3 that I was talking about Sean trying to turn into a 4 there.
Yeah, there was probably an element of bad luck there, but playing that weight and getting a thin edge like that, it was always going to be easy to run away.
And I believe the conversation was for 3.
We did see in Mike's semi-final against Stephen Campbell, was it?
Quarterfinal.
Quarterfinal, sorry. That Stephen was 16-11 in front, but then Mike Galloway dug deep and was able to score the next 10 points.
Oh, and there were some incredible bowls played in that game as well. And, you know, Steve Campbell, 4th year player, or 3rd or 4th year player. Just an incredible talent coming through the 1 to 5 ranks and certainly making a name for himself. He's just recently moved out to Howick as well from Point Chev, dual member. Just creating different opportunities, different playing partners. And his games have really come leaps and bounds this year, so a really good effort from him to make it to the stage he did. And I know he was pretty disappointed. He was certainly was backing himself in the sort of mid to late stages of that game to get through.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where on one hand you're really stoked with yourself for getting yourself in a position against a player like Mike Galloway to be in the win. But then, of course, if you lose from there, you do think, oh, if only.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to not feel like you threw away an opportunity.
That's what Mike Galloway is capable of. Plenty of international experience, national experience. And Sean Hurd, not phased at all. It's been very consistent. And he'll know that all he can do is keep putting the bowls there, and it's a bonus if he scores.
Yeah, just creating opportunities wherever possible. Because at the moment it sort of seems like Mike's done most of the chasing, despite the scores being pretty level. Mike's had to play those conversions or do all the hard work to score points.
Yeah, I feel earlier on Mike Galloway possibly had the more consistent bowls over the ends, but Sean did play some really key last bowls just in those early stages to get on the board. But we have sort of seen a change in that. Don't think he's a fan of that one.
It just depends on how much he drops down. He looks to have pretty good speed.
Yeah,
Well, that'll be the shot.
wouldn't be too unhappy with that. Little bit of jack movement here. Be a nice bonus for Galloway.
Oh, he's not put any wheat picks on that one. No, actually, no, it's based not too
Yeah,
bad, to be fair. Just cut his green.
Yeah, I wonder if he was in two minds a little bit.
Well, Kevin did indicate before that Mike's was the shot, so Sean sitting inside it would suggest that he's got one.
I'd be changing hand here, I think.
Yeah, turn your own over, draw behind, put it in a bit of position.
Yeah, I'd be looking for a position bowl. There's a nice little nest there for Galloway, the gannet. And if the jack were to be moved out that way,
No, I tell you what, he's covered this beautifully.
a little edge might
Stop.
help. Oh, pretty good.
Yeah, it's got a really good spot.
Yeah, it certainly helps. If you were to nitpick, you might want it slightly on the wider side, but he's more than done his job.
Well, what that does, though, is it forces Mike to play a certain amount of weight now, because he's got to trail that kitty further to create any real scoring opportunities. So I think it puts him just back to the draw shot. It looks like he's just going to hang a little bit there.
Yeah, I think he's struggling a little bit with knowing where his line is for that little bit of extra weight.
Again, I think it could be a two-minded shot there, because you talk about that. You talk about trailing it back to his own, and then also drawing the shot, trying to make the most out of one bolt.
Wouldn't surprise me if maybe we start seeing him go to that draw or drive game style and just cutting out all the in-between sort of shots.
Yeah, I mean, you're only 4 behind, but you have also lost the last 4 ends now and conceded 8 shots in the process. So Mike will be looking to change this game around back in his favour.
Sean, on the other hand, will be looking to just ride this wave, keep that momentum going.
I can imagine there's already a few beers being poured at Pringle Park, but there'll be quite a few more if Sean's able to bring the trophy back home with him. Pringle Park, I think, is probably one of the only clubs in the country that is still male only.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they did pretty well. Single green club. Just nestled into the community. They have Te Atatū Peninsula as like their sister club just up the road. But yeah, I was out there on Thursday for the for the Anzac tournament. They put on a pretty good day there. They look after the visitors really well. Always have a nice lunch on offer and really good vibes out there. And Mike, interestingly enough, was the green superintendent for renovating their green. They just had a major renovation.
That's awesome.
Reopened this season, running really well.
Might see a switch now, yep, from Mike.
Yeah, this is on a good line.
Yeah, never looked like missing. Right on the money. I'd be tempted if I was Sean, and maybe this is a bit aggressive of me, but coming down on the forehand, although it looks tight on this camera angle that I'm looking at over here, but
Yeah, I mean, my mentality for singles is if you're going to be aggressive, you're better off doing it with your third bowl than your fourth, especially when you've already got a back bowl in play.
from this angle here, I quite like coming under the green one on the forehand, resting out the shot bowl.
And it's not an overly weighted shot because
No, you're just reaching down.
The short bowls aren't in the way. You can just get 2 or 3 rolls out of Mike's bowl. The jack will flick across to yours. Because now you find yourself with your last bowl in your hand. And it just adds that little bit more pressure on. At least if you play it with your third, you give yourself 2 chances.
I guess the perks of leaving it for last, one is that you've got another bowl in the head, which is always helpful, and 2, you're only leaving your opposition with 1 bowl to fix it.
Yeah.
But it, of course, does add that layer of pressure for
It's
yourself.
interesting he's trying to play this backhand shot, which I'm guessing the intention is to try and roll the bowl through and sit the jack, but
Yeah, rock the jack.
he's not really got the weight or line there.
I do I mean, it possibly does look quite different from where he's standing. But yeah, the forehand just looked to have a little bit more options, a little bit more of a target. If he chipped it out, he had a couple seconds. Close again from Galloway. Depends on if it pulls up, and it has.
Yeah, it's a great bowl. Good bonus bowl.
Yeah, closes the gap, and he'll be happy to have broken Sean's momentum there, especially with a 2 as well, rather than a single.
I don't know, I quite often find it hard commentating singles games because I am quite an aggressive singles player.
Well, it's funny, I mean, I wouldn't be an aggressive player at all on the green, but when I'm commentating or calling shots, I probably tend to be a little bit more aggressive than how I'd actually play.
But do you think that it has a lot to do with your indoor? Because I find indoor players tend to be a bit more aggressive, not so much aggressive in big drives, but certainly in shot play.
Yeah, possibly. I wonder, I mean, you'd know, having played indoor bowls yourself, that being on the smaller scale, you're probably seeing more often shots changing just all the time in every game.
Yeah.
And so you're exposed to a whole range of shots just all the time. And so naturally when I've played indoor bowls for probably 19 years now. So there's just a lot of watching shots and how bowls react. And there's certainly some differences in outdoor. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if indoor bowlers see those shots or look for those shots that little bit more often.
I mean, you certainly see it when you look at the likes of Aidan Takarua play and Jenny Stockford and, you know, even when you're watching the likes of Sheldon play, you know, just the way they read the heads is distinctly different.
Aidan was one that started with outdoor first, but then went to indoor, and was an absolute natural, of course. But yeah, I think he would say as well that he probably picked up that little bit extra, gave him a bit of an edge in that respect.
And I mean, I did the same. I played outdoor for a couple of years before I went to indoor, and Alex isn't here, so I can say this, but I learnt a lot from him as an experienced indoor player. And just the way they read the heads. And then, of course, I moved back to Taranaki, where I was fortunate enough to have arguably some of the greatest indoor players of that generation as mentors. And, yeah, the way they build heads and draw shots, and they're so conscious of where every single bowler is on that little, you know, three square foot little mat.
Yeah.
And, you know, how they react and how you can hit them and move them. And it's certainly a very technical game, and whilst it doesn't perfectly translate into outdoor, the principles are still very much the same.
Yeah, there's a lot of transferable skills. And what a head from Mike Galloway. 3 shots all around the jack. I don't know if Sean's keen to leave it like that.
Yeah, that's an interesting bowl there from Sean.
As long as it reaches the head.
I mean, you don't want to be short, but you also don't want to be throwing a bowl away. I get that.
Yeah, I can understand potentially wanting to, draw handy, get a bowl to the head, maybe even fatten up the target a little bit more for your last bowl. But falling short, you're actually blocking yourself.
Yeah, he's kind of found himself just off that centre line that it makes it harder now to squeeze the bowl. You force
Galloway
yourself onto the forehand. Well, that's actually good from Galloway. Takes away that aggressive kind of option just now to draw the shot.
Yeah. What a turnaround this has been.
No, he's looking for the jack.
There's a few gaps there.
Well, we see another 4 scored.
Sean Hurd just had a magnificent run of momentum with 4 ends in a row, and 2 of those were 3s. But now we see Galloway pick up a 2 and a 4.
Yeah, and another lead change as well. So definitely a bit of back and forth going on here between our 2 finalists.
And all of a sudden, 21 shots doesn't seem all that far away, particularly for Mike Galloway from the Royal Oak Bowling Club. Looks a little bit more at ease now. Seen a couple of overthrown jacks from Mike, but I suppose being the skip of the team, you wouldn't get a whole lot of practice.
No, probably not something to get practice on the regular. Yeah, I was just trying to look at the women's game. It was 18-12 after 21 ends, whereas we've played 13 ends here and we're 16-14. So it's that difference of the multiples, particularly those couple of fours and a couple of threes from Sean as well. And they've both been scoring quickly, taking advantage of opportunities.
Oh, I think he'd be a little bit disappointed with that opening bowl.
Yeah, certainly not the best start to the Indies, to an Indies had. Whee! What are you doing out there, Sean? Had an opportunity to put one nice and close there, and he's left the door open.
Yeah, I think Mike will be relieved at that. Second chance. Looks to be on a better track. Still pulling up short though.
Yeah, much better bowl.
Needs a clean run. Oh, the
Gonna
little...
be-
got away with it. A little feather, but a clean run would have been preferred. Some slides work in your favour and some don't.
Definitely.
He looks interested. Haven't seen Galloway run after too many bowls this game. Oh, that's outstanding.
Great shot.
Especially around that bowl.
Yeah, well, Sean has the option now to be a little bit aggressive. He's got that back bowl in, of course.
Yeah, he is searching. It is searching weight onto his own. If anything, he would have liked to have seen it hang on to the lip of the ditch. Don't know if it's worth... I don't think it'll be worth Galloway doing the same again. I think pass is a good option.
Yeah, I sort of wonder if he changes his hand, actually, and just sort of tries to draw a shot on the high side, on the forehand, which it looks as though that's what he's doing, because you sort of cover any jack movement, but you also give yourself an opportunity to count.
Even if he came through the gap and actually just put another one on the jack, on that hand would probably be okay, but I think just on that other hand he's only setting up targets.
Missed the front one.
Yeah, a little touch and wriggle.
I don't think he's quite got there.
Sean's got to be a little bit careful now with his speed, because with that same speed, he getting the wrong edge,
Yeah, you're quite right.
he's pretty vulnerable. He's definitely got a better speed though, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he's got the line this time, though.
Actually, maybe he's not reaching. Oh well, only a one. Not the worst. course, that does make Galloway in check-out range. And he's already scored a 4 this game. 2 fours.
2 fours.
So, wouldn't put it past him to find another one. Sean Hurd might be thinking, it was just a few minutes ago I was feeling good about this game at 14-10. Galloway on his favoured hand, coming in this direction.
Wow, that one held up a long way. Yeah, it's interesting from Sean. He sort of played both hands going away from the clubhouse. Really reactive bowls rather than just picking a side and working on it. He's played well though, to be fair.
Yeah, that's a good first bowl. How many titles did you say Galloway's won here in Auckland?
18, I think.
It's pretty good going.
Yeah. I mean, he's certainly, as we talked about before, he's been in some very good sides from the old Onehunga Bowling Club, and then obviously, become Royal Oak. Had a pretty good run with, James Gavin, Martin Dixon, Gavin Brown, those sort of guys. They've pretty much been the 3/4 to beat over the last 5 or 6 years around here. And of course, last year they won the Club Championship 4s as well as the Open Triples.
Yeah, that's well placed by Galloway. I've only seen him run up after a couple of bowls. They've always been pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of running up after bowls. I think just because I'm lazy. But there are some players that religiously run up after their third bowl. And I mean, whilst we're not playing to a time limit in the final, I think it is just, sometimes you run up and you think, what are you honestly going to have a look at? Like, this kind of hit here, it's fairly open. For Mike, I think the intent is just to try and draw to beat the back bowl of Sean's. You could argue that Sean would come up and have a look to sort of see the angles of where Mike's bowls were going to go if he was to run them, but it's a fairly open head.
I personally wouldn't probably beat my bowl down to the head, therefore I wouldn't run up after it, but I've skipped a fair bit of pairs this season and I don't mind going up to have a little nosy, but I try not to do that all too regularly, because like you say, from a time point of view. But I certainly like, just getting a clear picture of what the head looks like, and that makes me that much clearer on the shot that I need to play.
Genuine laws question. How does that work in the para space? Is there any leniency towards the beat your bowl up rule? Because obviously, whilst your disability isn't as perhaps physically challenging as some That didn't come out right. you could probably walk a bit more normal than some people. But how does that work? Do they have leniency to that, or?
I'm not sure. I've never seen anything in force, and there'd probably be only a select few that do chase their bowls up to the head, and those players would probably beat their bowls. So yeah, I'm not sure, sorry.
Cool, now let's move on before I dig myself further into the rabbit hole.
I do know that we've had, this is a little bit different, but some leniency on, say, completing our trial ends. We might be allowed a little bit more time. Yeah.
I only ask because, and I'll bring it up. I'm this far in now, why not? Graham Scalern, I know, follows his bowls up, so I was just kind of curious as to how that works.
Mark Noble's obviously known for...
Oh yeah, Mark, of course, yeah.
Galloway scored a 1 there, makes the score 18-14, and he inches closer to the 21 shots required. So interestingly, Sean had his run of 4 ends, but now Mike has also had a run of 4 ends. It's been a bit of a game like that, you know.
They both scored 8 points in 4 ends.
That's it.
Great start again from Mike.
Of course, when Sean scored his 4, Mike returned the serve and scored a 4 himself. So it has been a bit of tit for tat. Been some really good stuff played.
It's not a bad reply. Making sure he's got his green, jack high.
Do you think these two guys would watch their final back at some point?
Well, I mean, I know for me personally, I don't. I mean, I have watched the Taranaki Fours final back that I was in.
So you do.
But that was probably the only exception, to be honest. And, yeah, some people do, some people don't. I know talking to different people, they kind of... It's almost cringeworthy.
Yeah.
I know I hate listening to my own commentary back, but some people, you know, a lot of people give compliments on commentary, but I can't stand listening to it. I just listen to myself and think, geez, you're an idiot. But no, I think particularly for juniors, I really encourage junior players who have had the opportunity to be on live stream to watch it back, because quite often they see things in their game that, you know, they just don't see from their own perspective. And of course we try to be as nice as possible to players in commentary, and sometimes we offer constructive feedback, so in those situations it can be really useful as well, just to perhaps get an outsider's opinion on your game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I still believe that being able to video your delivery is the greatest coaching technique available. To be able to see what you're doing and actually see it and be like, is that what I really look like? Is just an invaluable tool. Yeah,
I was lucky enough to have a little coaching session with Morris Symes just before Christmas last year, and I said, look, I have no idea what I'm doing on my backhand run shots, but it's obviously something. I think there were about 4 things that he told me I was doing wrong, but they were so on point, and those 4 pointers went a long way. Now it's just a matter of execution.
It's quite interesting when it comes to like attacking shots. Obviously I've got somewhat of a reputation for being aggressive, and you know, people come up to me like, oh, teach me how to drive, and the first thing I say to them is slow down. You know, like, because honestly speed is a result of rhythm and timing. This is a great bowl from Mike.
Brilliant
Tuck in
shot.
for 3.
Yep, that's game as it stands.
I think we're going to see some weight.
Not even that big a target, really.
Oh, he's missed this.
He's looking for luck now.
Oh, that's
Didn't
the
get
game.
it. Well, congratulations to Mike Galloway. Now completes the set of the champion events, and he will get a trip to Dunedin in July. Also, well done to Sean Hurd for a fantastic effort, and thank you for joining me in commentary, Brendan.
Yeah, cheers, Terry. Thanks for today. It's been great. And obviously we skipped the championship pairs in a couple of weeks with the broadcast, but we'll be back in 3 weeks' time for coverage of the Champ of Champ triples.
Brilliant. Thanks for tuning in.